Welcome back, everybody, to Europe versus China Season 2, brought to you by NetEase. We're live from Hangzhou, China, ready for our last quarterfinal match of the day. It's Hawkeye versus MagicWind, the last remaining European of the day with the last remaining Chinese player. And if MagicWind wins this, that means we have 3 Chinese and 1 lone European, which is Kolento. So I think Hawkeye has to fight not only for his own prize money, but also for the pride of Europeans, because, you know, last time I heard, the Euros thought that they were the best region in the world. And, you know, to come here to China and have these players go through, like, a lot of rigorous qualifiers and then only one make the top 4, I think that has a lot to say, because I know players from North America, you know, even Tempo Storm for a while, we were saying that we think China is the 2nd best region in the world.
Yeah, and not only that, if Hawkeye loses, then that means every single player who qualified through a qualifier from the EU region will have been eliminated.
That's right. The invited player ended up getting the farthest. It's one of the funny stories actually about it, but I don't think anybody was doubting whether or not Kolento was deserving of an invite. Maybe a couple people got their Jimmy's rustled by it, but I don't really think for the most part the overwhelming majority of people like minded that Kolento, like, oh no, you invited the player of the year for 2014, how could you? Like, nah, people are pretty happy about it.
Yeah, especially the Chinese players, because they all got to meet Kolento. I mean,
oh yeah, between every break, he's taking pictures with people.
Yeah, that's by the Ferrari. Like, we'll probably get a picture for you guys of Kolento in the Ferrari sometime. That'll be pretty exciting.
We'll have to disable the force field around it, because if you get anywhere close to the interior, it starts beeping like crazy and notifying the local SWAT team.
So let's talk about the next match that's going to go on. It's between a European and a Chinese player.
Yeah, we got Hawkeye versus MagicWind.
MagicWind, of course, he was one of the best players in the early on in the Chinese.
I don't know, Monk. We've got MagicWind with the hat. I'm feeling MagicWind in this series.
Oh yeah, I have to say, every time a player with a hat played,
his hat is so wide. It's way bigger than his head.
So you would say this is in terms of a power ranking, his hat is below Tiddler's?
Yeah, I would say it's a tier 2 hat.
I see.
Tiddler's definitely tier 1.
Fair enough. Especially because Tiddler's hat on the back, it says like freedom is death.
Right. You know, I mean, all politics aside, it's a pretty cool hat. It also matches his outfit, unlike those blue ones, which clearly are for the Europeans. Hawkeye's wearing a blue jacket, representing Greece. The running joke amongst the pros here and even within the casters that Hawkeye is never on time for anything. He's always late to everything he is, whether it's an arrangement to go to the venue or to go get something to eat.
Yeah, even when he first arrived at the airport.
Even when he first arrived to the airport, his plane got delayed.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that his plane got delayed, but rather he got lost in the airport and took 2 hours to find the rest of us.
So this Greek guy, man, he arrived on time for his match. We slotted him in the final slot, thankfully, so that way we gave some room for him to show up on time. Druid versus Mage is how we're going to start things off here. And the lineup overall, we have Druid, Hunter, Shaman versus Mage, Hunter, Warlock. Cool that Hawkeye is, again, the only player to bring Shaman this entire tournament.
Yeah, of course, we will probably see yet again the mech Shaman from him. And
you think so?
I think so. Maybe he's going to pull off a Tiddler and just completely switch it up with a mid-range Shaman. It could really throw MagicWind off.
He was saying that he doesn't want to bring mech Shaman again.
It's true. I want to ask him, because he's bringing Mech Shaman every single time, or he brought Mech Shaman at least last time, but he didn't bring a Mage. So does he actually think that Mech Shaman is better than Mech Mage? It's an interesting question.
So, I mean, one thing's for sure, I don't know if you want to bring Mech Shaman and Mech Mage, right? Because that makes you too easy to get exploited by a deck that's good against both.
It's true, but
because like say he prepared it specifically for Mech, then you just...
Whoa! What is this?
Oh, is it Freeze Mage? All right. Hey, you know, MagicWind got criticism yesterday from some Chinese organizers saying they think MagicWind's a boring player. Like, he hasn't really done much. He hasn't really innovated much, and he's picking really safe decks. And maybe he heard that criticism, cried a little bit in his hotel room, and took it to heart. Look at him. He's bringing Freeze Mage, which is the opposite end of what Mech Mage usually does. I mean, what Freeze Mage does is it doesn't care about the board. It stalls out the game long enough so that way it can combo at the very end with a bunch of spells and then chain damage to end the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to say that this is probably not the matchup that MagicWind is looking for. Druid versus Freeze Mage is one of Freeze Mage's worst matchups. I think Freeze Mage has a lot of... overall, I think, against the field, it's pretty overall really good, but it does have bad matchups in Warrior and in Druid.
Right. Actually, the fact that no one's really bringing Warrior makes it doable. I mean, Druid is a really tough matchup because of, first of all, the fact that Druid can kill from the hand pretty easily. They have a hero power that threatens to do the 1 damage if it pops Ice Block. It's got silences for the Doomsayer. It's got heals with the Ancient of Lore. So it's got basically everything that you'd want. That said, it's not unwinnable. It's not unwinnable at all.
Yeah, one of the reasons that we haven't seen a lot of freeze mages in this tournament at least is that a lot of the European players were expecting a lot of Kazan Mystics in the Chinese players' decks. And
man, what if he's playing? Yeah, what if he's playing Kazan Mystic, stealing the ice blocks?
But I think what MagicWind did is he went back into the VODs from yesterday, and you saw that Hawkeye did not play any Kazan Mystics in his decks. And you know what? Going back to the point we made before, I think that might be a reason why Hawkeye decided to bring Mech Shaman instead of Mech Mage the first day. He just didn't want his secrets to get Kazan'd.
Oh, it's a good trade-off, I guess.
So,
do you drop the Keeper the Grove to stay on curve and pressure your opponent?
I don't think so.
You save it for the Doomsayers, right?
Yeah, I think they're just way too valuable against Doomsayers, and like, there's always things that you can silence. Like, even if not Doomsayers, maybe Mad Scientists or Acolytes.
I mean, that's good news if you're MagicWind and you're holding a Doomsayer, but he doesn't have it yet.
I think this is a turn where you just develop a secret. This board is not really threatening at all to you.
Yeah, at the same time, I don't mind just freezing to deny some damage as well. I mean, it would be 6 damage the opposite way, so just Cone of Cold is okay in my book.
MagicWind's hovering over the Fireball. Maybe he thinks the Shade is too threatening?
I suppose so. I guess this freeze is highly valuable as well. Second Fireball. In general, what you have to be careful too in this matchup is the amount of armor that can stack. Hawkeye is using his Ancient of Lore really liberally as well. 2 important cards in this matchup. He's already dropped down.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Mirror Image, not Mirror Entity. That's basically a card that we haven't seen ever since pretty much Nextramus came out. I remember in the first iterations of Freeze Mage or Giants Mage, it was a card that was used, especially because Zoo was so popular back then. But these days, it just gets AoE down so easily.
Yeah, you know, MagicWind probably not happy to see a 5/5 on the board, but at the same time, he's got a lot of stall.
Yeah, as for that Ancient of Lore, I feel like you do really have, in this matchup, you do really have to go for drawing cards instead of healing yourself, because if you don't draw enough cards, you'll never kill your opponent. That's actually one issue that Kalanto brought up in a stream once, that you should almost always try to use the Ancient of Lore to draw those cards. Against Freeze Mage, that is.
Yeah.
So with the Spectral Knight, Hawkeye has an opportunity to play around Cone of Cold.
Yeah. So you want to do that now, though. I guess it is the best stats to drop at the moment.
This Mirror Entity might actually do a lot of work here. It could potentially stall out for 7 damage, which is about as good as an Ice Barrier. So it's like, in a sense, it's like a 1 mana Ice Barrier.
Yeah, 1 mana gain 7 health. Pretty amazing. Not to mention the synergy with Antonitis. One thing that I do like about playing Pilot Shredder over the Spectral Knight is that you get the hero power. And I know that doesn't seem like a really big deal, but stacking armor is really valuable, because if they go for an Alexstrasza and you're at 17 health or 18 health because you've stacked the +1 armors over the course of a few turns, and you heal yourself out of up to like 23 health with the Ancient of Lore, you're outside of even a Thalnos combination, because sometimes if you get Thalnos with a Fireball, 2 Ice Lances and a Frostbolt, that's 21 damage. So sometimes people aren't careful about that combination of being able to die to it.
Also, I want to mention that, like you said before, Hawkeye is playing placing the Pilot Shredder in the correct spot between the 2 other minions.
Yep. I mean, he was there when we told Tice that, so maybe it's one of those things where they didn't consider it for a while. We saw the Chinese players doing it earlier today, so generally speaking, it seems like people are figuring out how to play with the card.
Hawkeye is a choice of 5 drops this turn. I think I like the Spectral Knight a little better.
Yeah, Spectral Knight is pretty powerful here. Again, I like the idea that you can hero power as well. I think you want to put it... Oh, he didn't play around Cone of Cold.
Exactly. He played into Pilot Shredder. He played into Pilot Shredder's strength. But the turn before, he didn't play around Cone of Cold.
Huh, so he's just not considering it at all.
But yeah, this is probably the worst case scenario. I mean, no, does this kind of play around Cone of Cold? I'm not really sure what the best positioning is for Cone of Cold.
I guess that's a legitimate question. Maybe he wants him to pick between freezing the Spectre Knight or the Ancient of Lore.
I guess the best positioning would be...
That's actually pretty clever, because he sort of wanted that Cone of Cold. Like, okay, so we could be over-analyzing this, kind of like in English class, trying to analyze some writers as like, well, clearly they weren't trying to actually write that and intend it with the irony. But in this scenario, maybe Hawkeye actually was saying, like, if you're going to use Cone of Cold, you have to choose between taking a lot of damage, not to mention you have to hit the Pilot Shredder, which gives me a minion to hit back.
Okay, so this minion, the Micro Machine, is actually pretty valuable. I think what this means is MagicWind will have to freeze at least this creature in the next turn or two. If it grows to something like it's a huge creature, it could pretty much get out of hand. Freezing it, of course, it'd be okay. Just a simple Frost Nova, or even maybe better, the Cone of Cold plus the Thanos.
Yeah, I want a hero power for sure as well.
Yeah, like you said, just fitting in those hero powers.
Weaving it in. It's something that Gara was telling me for a long time that you need to do. Like Gara would like innervate hero power when very clearly he could have easily picked up like another card as well. But that's how much he values the armoring up, because it's life gain. You know, it's stacking up. Why is Warrior such a tough matchup? Because of stacking the armor.
Exactly. So you're kind of like mini Warrior here, gaining 1 armor each and every turn. So this play, his positioning here actually does play around Cone of Cold.
Right, but it's also the case where he's been playing to the right every single time, right?
Well, he did play the Pilot Shredder in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, I mean, we can always ask him. Maybe the chat won't know, but he's got the combo. Now there is an ice barrier, so he's effectively working at 22 health. Which means MagicWind is 2 damage, or sorry, Hawkeye is 2 damage from popping the ice block. He's also... Yeah, he doesn't also have enough mana to like...
I think you can go for it though, because next turn you can pop it anyway.
Right. But then what if you just get Alexstrasza? Yeah, actually you're right. Because you still have enough pressure on board.
Okay. So is he gonna play anything? Is he testing for counterspell perhaps? I'm not sure.
No. The only secret that was rotated into Freeze Mage was Vaporize back in the day, right? To kill Leroy. Okay, so he just passes. Micro Machine goes stronger. He could play the removal game. Ice Barrier, Fireball. That Fireball is really valuable though.
Yeah. He already used 1 Fireball in the previous turn.
Exactly.
Previously against the Shade.
Wow.
And I don't think he can afford to give up any more burn at this
Druid
point.
picks up Ancient of Lore, so as long as Hawkeye keeps that, the game's over. Because he's going to be able to pressure here.
So I'm
17,
definitely seeing a
25.
Innervate Savage Roar, or just a Savage Roar combo here.
Yeah, this is a Ice Block pop.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, I would even consider innervating out the hero power.
Yep.
Let's go.
There's actually a reason. There's no reason not to. Although, This opens up. Oh, never mind. I thought it was going to open up an interesting possibility. It was like where he can heal and pop the ice block again, but he can do it anyways because he put it down to 1 health.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, if
Yeah, MagicWind's in big trouble.
if I don't know, basically there's no way for
He can Alex Straza and freeze a minion. That will stall for a little bit. Yeah, Alex Strazas himself up to 15, and then Ice Lance's.
He can also
he can stay alive.
He can also try to ping his Acolyte of Pain for an ice block, but yeah, I agree that probably freezing a minion is better. But after you Alex Straza yourself, you pretty much give up Alex Strazing your opponent, and you've also used a Fireball and you used an Ice Lance as your burn, so you're pretty much you have to rely on your Antonidas to draw into your finishing damage, which at this point
still
isn't
doable
likely.
because you have Frost Nova.
That's true.
And not to mention, Alex Straza becomes 8 damage on the board.
We're gonna see the BGH. Zombie Chow, his worst draw. But he can always Ancient of Lore for his BGH.
Yeah, and he's also got a swipe here. So the swipe keeps the Druid of the Claw alive.
I like Ancient of Luring and then intervening out a swipe if he doesn't draw BGH.
What about silencing your bear? That's 8, 12, 13 damage. Ooh, so close. Yeah, I don't see lethal here.
Maybe another option is to silence the Thalnos. But yeah, I like the Ancient of Lore a little better.
Yeah, you don't have to save Ancient Lore for healing anymore.
Yeah, you have so much armor right now anyway. 3 armor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's got...
Druid of the Claw is really nice.
Yeah, Druid of the Claw is really good for pressure on the following turn.
Exactly.
So... MagicWind can stall again with freeze. He's got Quarterfinal Oracle in the deck. Wow.
Wow, and someone actually said that MagicWind wasn't creative, but he's certainly being very creative here with Coldlight Oracle and Mirror Entity, or rather Mirror Image in his deck. I remember the very first versions of Freeze Mage, back when Pyroblast was 8 mana, involved Coldlight Oracles and Mirror Images, actually. In fact, Reels was one of the biggest proponents of Mirror Image. Back in those good old times. Good old times when Pyroblast was 8 mana.
It's amazing to think, like, all the knowledge that we have now and what we thought back then.
Exactly.
Pretty hilarious, right? You think you'd be the greatest Hearthstone player on the planet if you knew what you knew.
I mean, of
back
course,
then.
right? I think anyone would be, to be honest.
Well, I mean, some people argue that, but in other games, it's not as true because mechanics come into play.
Exactly.
But in this scenario, it's like, oh yeah, be the greatest Hearthstone player in the world because you're so ahead of the meta.
Ooh.
Oh, that's what he needed.
That's all right.
Crossnova Doomsayer, but we know there's a silence for that.
Yeah, now that I'm remembering it, remember when Pyroblast was 8, Kona Cold was 3, Frost Nova was 2, and Blizzard was 5 mana. Those are the times.
Crossbolt was 3. Back in the day too.
Well, no, there was a time when Frostbolt was 2 and all those other spells were buffed.
Oh, okay.
Or rather unnerfed.
You know, I don't think he should play this Sylvanas, by the way, after he silences the Doomsayer.
Yeah, then you have the potential for a Fireball plus...
another Doomsayer.
Yeah, Fireball plus another Doomsayer. And basically you Fireball Sylvanas, force him to
to
steal your
the Doomsayer.
At this point, though, to be honest, Hawkeye can pretty much do anything he wants. Your opponent has already used Sylvanas. He's used a Fireball and an Ice Lance, so that's pretty much all of your burn. And if you do play the Sylvanas, even if your opponent has Doomsayer plus Fireball, you force him to use another Fireball, so that's even more burn gone from your opponent.
True.
But again, I still like just hero powering here.
Yeah, alright. Well, it can happen, Monk. Can happen. I think MagicWind has to play Cold Light Oracle here.
And actually, you're not even that weak to Fireball Doomsayer because there's already a Science Doomsayer on the board. So there's a 50-50 chance that it doesn't even steal that.
Oh, he gets it! Oh, he gets it. Does he see it?
Does he go for the 1 and 3?
Oh, yeah, he absolutely should. Fireball Sylvanas.
All right, what does it steal?
Well, GG. Nice try here from MagicWind, but Hawkeye ends up surviving. Game number 1 here, and I mean, that was a matchup that, like you said, MagicWind didn't want, but that's okay. When you bring a deck like Freeze Mage, you're just trying to target one thing that it can defeat. So in this case, I'm guessing it's the Shaman.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be actually both the Shaman and the Hunter.
You think Freeze Mage is good against Hunter?
Oh, yeah, I think it can be with all the heals and
it can be. It's just that if it's a face Hunter, because Hawkeye's been really aggressive.
That's true. I actually think that the reason MagicWind brought Freeze Mage to the tournament is he saw Hawkeye brought 2 aggressive decks last time, Face Hunter and Shaman. So he's pretty much thinking of decks that counter those 2 decks, those 2 aggressive decks.
I always did love Freeze Mage against like Zoo, for example, which was board control oriented, and I felt like all the freezes did well against it. But against Hunter, it's just, they're always pressuring you to kill with the hero power, so I'm always scared of facing Hunter with Freeze Mage.
He does have the mirror entity though, the mirror image, so that could just be another tech against Hunter.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's funny enough where if you get Mad Scientist out early and you get like just a couple of freezes, there was a time where you're right, I didn't fear Hunter much because they didn't have Flare. And Flare was like the big reason why mage decks like the Freeze Mage couldn't really exist. Here we go. Does he queue it up again though? I guess so. What else would you re-queue as?
Yeah.
Maybe Hunter?
I questioned some of the check choices MagicWind put in his Freeze Mage though. It seemed like he cut some things like Loot Hoarder and Explosive Sheep for the mirror entity and the Cold Light Oracle. And if you're targeting decks like the more aggressive decks, then you'd rather have the Explosive Sheep and Loot Hoarder instead of the other cards. And now the Shaman we can see from Hawkeye, I think you were right. This is not going to be an aggressive mech Shaman. This looks more like a mid-range Shaman.
Mid-range Shaman. Yeah, well, we'll see. Cards that come out. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely mid-range
Shaman.
Yeah,
the Zombie Chow is highly indicative that it's not an aggressive mech Shaman. So Hawkeye mixing it up.
Do you play the Zombie Chow in turn 1? Still think you do to contest Loot Hoarders, Mad Scientists, stuff like that. Speak of the devil.
Yeah, even though it does get contested, it's still good to put the Mad Scientists out to weed out the ice barrier so that you don't, or even ice block, so that way you don't have to draw it. Right? I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if he just pinged.
Yep. Go Mad Scientist.
Is there a pro to just pinging and passing? I don't think so.
Yeah, like you said, I think you do want to weed out those secrets. It's gonna be okay.
So you wanna?
Yeah, I think he wanted the spell power totem.
Yeah, the silence.
And then coin the Earth Shock. So is he gonna coin the Earth Shock anyway?
He doesn't need to because the totem can just take the hit. So that way he doesn't activate the secret yet. So he can still do it next turn. He can still hero power and then Earth Shock.
That's fair.
Yeah. Alternatively, if he does that, anything he draws next turn he can't really play. And it matters more about pressure on the board than denying stuff.
Oh wow, I'm really surprised here. So he actually kept an Earth Shock, but he didn't use it on one of the only Earth Shockable minions.
Well, there's Doomsayer.
Yeah, Doomsayer, Acolyte of
But you can always hex a Doomsayer.
And the other thing is he has 2 Earth Shocks in his hand.
I mean, it makes sense considering that, you know, most likely Freeze Mage will be able to play Secret anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. Just because you have 2 Earth Shocks in your hand, I really would have liked to see an Earth Shock on that.
Yeah, he has a Big Game Hunter as well.
I think you're completely okay with playing this as a Jungle Panther.
Because you have Hex.
Yeah, you're gonna draw Hex anyway, and you can pretty much use that against the Alexstrasza.
Well, another Arcane Intellect. I think it's pretty decent considering that. MagicWind, even if he loses some health, he can gain it back with Zombie Chow. In fact, now that Zombie Chow is on the board, you can even just float that as extra health for a while. Taking a little bit extra damage and then bouncing back up.
You know what's interesting is because Hawkeye actually didn't Earthshock the Mad Scientist, Ice Barrier came out, and if the Zombie Chow dies right now, for instance, the Zombie Chow's effect is not going to matter at all. So that might be a calculated risk from Hawkeye to try to get Ice Barrier out.
That's a good point. I mean, a lot of the Europeans players think Hawkeye is one of the best players here.
Yeah. Tice, for example, I talked to him. He thought Hawkeye was...
He's also one of the coolest Avengers.
You mean one of the least cool Avengers?
Are you kidding me? The guy never misses. He's sick. You know who's definitely one of the least cool? It's Black Widow. I was like, man, you guys definitely gimped her.
Sure.
I mean, Iron Man's pretty badass too, sure. And Captain America is kind of boring, but they even play on that a little bit. But Hawkeye is seriously legit, dude.
So you're telling me you want to see
Jeremy
a Hawkeye
Renner was
movie?
awesome. Huh?
You want to see a Hawkeye movie?
Yeah. Of course I do.
Well, you pretty much had.
If I had the money, I'd fund it myself. Executive producer Frodan.
You pretty much had a Hawkeye movie in the new Bourne movie starring Jeremy Renner, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you enjoyed that.
I did. Not as much as I'm enjoying this game, Monk.
This game with a lot of freezes.
With a lot of action and interaction.
And Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye.
When he was doing his interviews, the #1 question that Hawkeye was asked was, "Where's your name from? Are you an Avenger?" Yeah, you know what? Hawkeye actually looks like the real Hawkeye.
No,
right?
he doesn't.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Is this the thing where, like, I think all of Maz's and Trump's look alike?
Whoa, dude. Whoa, watch yourself, man. Tread lightly.
All right.
Tread lightly.
And I'll carry a big stick.
This turn, I still feel like he's not under significant pressure. He can get away with drawing. He's actually roping here. You also can just Frostbolt to stall as well.
I don't like Frostbolting at all. You're at 32 HP.
I'm saying if he wants to, but...
Oh, man. I'm not really agreeing with a lot of these decisions with from MagicWind, to be honest. Like, he's using a lot of his burn spells to kill minions.
What? I think Hawkeye...
He thinks it's...
I think Black Rock Mountain isn't out yet, Hawkeye.
Exactly.
What are you doing, dude?
There's no dragon synergy yet.
He's got like Hungry Dragon on the top of his deck. He's like, whoa, where'd you get that card, dude?
It's like, wow, Hawkeye's cheating.
I sort of agree with Frostbolting to stall for damage because I think against a class like Shaman, there's a lot of burst potential, especially if they carry one single Doomhammer.
You know what?
So you have to be really cautious against them.
Well, now that I look at it again, I guess it's pretty much it's all right because you have a second Frostbolt or a second Frostbolt in your hand already, so you might as well use it. So Hawkeye, with this awesome tech card, he plays around Cone of Cold. You think?
Well, sort of until Cone of Cold, and then a ping just kills everything.
Do you think that was what he was aiming for? Playing around Cone of Cold with Fairy Dragon. I don't think I've seen a Fairy Dragon in how long? I don't know.
Since like the days of Mage, when you used to build like aggro, right?
Yeah.
Like aggro Mage, where you just like play Fairy Dragon, Shadow Sun Cleric, Dark Iron Dwarf type of stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
That was a long time ago. Good days. Good days. Yeah, back when Rogue was was popular and back when Mage was popular.
Yeah. Wait, question. Why Blizzard and not Cone of Cold ping there? Is it because Blizzard's more expensive and you want to get rid of it? Cone of Cold is more versatile, I guess, with the mana usage?
I think it might be because he couldn't kill the Fairy Dragon with Cone of Cold plus ping.
Wait, you'd freeze. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe he's just respecting the dragons.
Yeah.
Man.
You can Earthshock here, but I like Dr. Boom a lot
Dr.
better.
Boom is like one of the worst cards ever for Freeze Mage because if you try to like do anything to the board, even if you like Frost over Doomsayer it, if the Doomsayer goes off and explodes the boom bots, it can kill you past your ice block because it doesn't activate on your turn.
That's true.
All right.
So Cone of Cold can be really good here.
I think you can Cone of Cold after you Acolyte, so that way he can potentially absorb 1 damage.
Seems like the play.
And then in a good instance, and it misses your Thalnos and hits like Acolyte twice.
For 1 damage?
For 1 or 2 damage, it doesn't really matter. You actually can Suicide Thalnos in and get ready for a Flame Strike. I guess you'd only freeze 1 boom bot, right? Not so you'd freeze the Fire Elemental as well.
Yeah. He's also considering Frost Nova Doomsayer, which I don't think I like as much. Whoa. Okay, so what's this play?
Hits the face.
3. Well, it's pretty big.
Reasonable. 2.
Okay. So he's really valuable.
I guess you might as well drop Doomsayer here.
That's true.
Because it's like if he has Hex and Doom or Ursock, he's gonna use it. And if you're gonna try to be reliant upon Doomsayer later,
yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So you can Earthshock the Thalnos, but you can also Earthshock one of your own minions for even more damage.
Oh wait, you're right. What if he Earthshocks Dr. Boom? And
Double
then,
Flame Tongue.
2 Flame Tongues, that's 11, plus a Lightning Bolt, that's 14.
I think he should do that. Well, actually, like, if he pops the Ice Block now, then
You can't guarantee pop it from the hand.
Well, actually, no. If he pops the Ice Block now, he'll bring him down to
3.
3, and that looks pretty good.
That's sick. Hawkeye has found a way.
I actually don't like rolling a totem first because you could.
Yeah, you could have done more damage to your Dr. Boom.
Exactly. All right, this is gonna be sick. I'm really glad Hawkeye saw that play.
Man, that is a really good pun, Monk. You are on fire. Well, the ice block has been revealed, and that's going to put MagicWind on a draw to survive. He's got Flame Strike, but of course he's always worried about, in the back of his mind, what if he just dies? Like straight up Fire Elemental. Or a Rock Biter. Or a Lightning Bolt.
So in order to be completely safe this turn, you actually have to Flame Strike and then possibly freeze your opponent's face with one of your spells. But that's like even more damage gone.
Oh, he's trying to draw for an Ice Block?
That's not it. So Flame Strike is... actually, you don't actually need to Flame Strike.
You can Frost Nova.
You can Frost Nova Doomsayer, and you've already seen both Earthshocks you, so you're not afraid of any minions being unsilenced, or being unfrozen, rather.
You saw both Earthshocks?
Yeah, one of the first Earthshocks was... He had both Earthshocks in his opening hand.
No, he tossed away one.
He tossed one back, but he redrew it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
what did he use it on?
For 2 damage on a Mad Scientist.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
So yeah, I think this is perfectly fine. Interesting. Okay, he pings the face. Okay. That's
Wait.
fine. Whoa. Okay, that's it.
Wow, that's game. Game over for MagicWind. He tried really hard. There's no way he could have survived that, though. Dude, MagicWind's getting punished.
Yes, certainly. At the same time, you really have to give Hawkeye a thumbs up for bringing kind of a different shaman. It's kind of the same as Tiddler Celestial. He kind of... Hawkeye, like Tiddler, he kind of mind-gamed his opponent, bringing just the same classes, but different decks to the second round.
I'll give him a thumbs up. Hey, Hawkeye, nice moves.
Good job. Good shooting. Now, he has the Hunter left. Hawkeye does have the Hunter left, so does he actually change Hunter styles again?
What if this Hunter just has a flare just on the off chance? Or like a Kazan Mystic.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, hey, look at that. I just win.
That would be hilarious. But,
I mean, the most important thing is that Hawkeye just has to beat one of these 3 decks with Hunter.
I think it's
definitely doable because, I mean, Hunter can beat Hunter, and Hunter definitely can beat the Warlock. Especially if it's a handlock that you just draw decently against.
So
I feel like MagicWind is like at a 20% chance or less to win the series.
Oh, certainly.
Like, what would you peg it at? 15? 10?
I would have to say, so even if all the matchups are 50-50, and I think Hunter is probably favored against some of these decks, then I would put MagicWind at
10%.
Around 10%,
Yeah.
I'd say.
He's feeling the pressure. Will the hat finally lose its first series? Well, here we go. Freeze Mage again. Hunter once more. It's an aggressive Hunter, at least from the looks of it.
He does have Clockwork Gnome, though. And, like, all these cards, I guess the only card that is indicative of a Face Hunter is the Explosive, yeah. But the Clockwork Gnome is a card that we don't see a lot in Face Hunter, even though we did see it earlier today, played by, I believe, Stan Sifka. Or entry fee? No, Stan Sifka, yeah. He played the aggressive Face Hunter.
Yeah. All right, Hawkeye goes greedy. He gets very greedy and goes for the Knife Juggler.
Fortunately, he will get punished.
It's fine.
No,
in a way, it's like the payoff would have been so high if that wasn't able to be dealt with.
Yeah, but MagicWind's hand is pretty insane right now. Pretty geared towards beating this Hunter.
Right. Even dropping Doomsayer sometimes on like turn 3 just straight up if the board isn't strong enough can be enough to win you back the board.
Exactly. I like Mad Scientist here. Contest the board a bit more, but the Glaive Zuka plus Abusive Sergeant will be exactly, well, even Glaive Zuka plus Clockwork Gnome is probably better. And it's going to be exactly what Hawkeye needs.
What's fun too about this is MagicWind probably might not ever trigger the trap.
That's true. Like, why would a Freeze Mage trigger an Explosive trap? So he just goes for the attack with the Abusive Sergeant.
Yeah.
I think I might have liked to see Clockwork Gnome more because you get that extra spare part a little faster. Plus, you can probably use the extra 2 damage from the Abusive Sergeant any other time.
That's a good point. I also like that Clockwork Gnome gives you the chance of a reversal switch. And you could use that against the Doomsayer if it gets dropped. Because it turns it to a 7-0, which effectively kills it.
Yeah, very good point.
But, you know, you never know. Maybe it gives you like a +1 health and it's useless. If it gives you Cloak Field, that's pretty decent as well. And then the Coolant, not that useful. And then plus attack, so... Overall, I would say a 50-50 on the spare part if it's useful or not.
There's a lot of options this turn. I don't like just dropping Doomsayer because you potentially have the Frost Nova Doomsayer combo next turn.
It's effectively the same now as it is later, though, right?
That's true.
This, actually, what I like about this is it disincentivizes turn 4. So instead, he's just going to essentially hero power. Of course, it is a possibility that Wolf Rider just comes down and kills Doomsayer. You get to keep that pressure on the board. Also okay, but not ideal.
But if the Doomsayer tanks, how much is that? 8 damage for you?
Right.
And I think you'll be pretty happy anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty much like a 2-mana Ice Block, or Ice Barrier rather.
So if he does 8 damage this turn...
Okay.
He has Leroy.
Yeah, I like this a little better.
Yeah. 18. Leroy puts him at 12. Wolf Rider puts him at 9. And then...
Oh, that's a good draw.
Yeah, it's a very good draw. I think I'd still play Arcane Intellect.
Well, no, I like this a little better because this Acolyte can contest a lot of the Wolf Rider, for example.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, the Wolf Rider, I don't know, man. I think getting the extra draw is critical at this stage. Ice barrier is pretty clutch. Super clutch, in fact.
Yeah, you might as well just fill out your curve by using the ice barrier at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Acolyte is actually really annoying right now.
Super annoying.
Like, Knife Juggler is somewhat useless.
I mean, at one point, when do you just say screw it? You can draw cards, but you know, I'm gonna try to do damage because at least the Knife Juggler could be threatening more damage as well.
The thing is, because MagicWind has drawn so many cards, you definitely expect him to have at least some sort of freeze or AoE.
Right.
So it seems like the Knife Juggler pretty much will die the turn after it's played. So it essentially has a 50% chance of doing 1 damage or a 50% chance of drawing your opponent a card. And you have to weigh that out a bit. Which do you value more? 1 damage to your opponent's face or your opponent having an extra card? Or
sometimes that 1 damage to the face depends who you're asking, Monk. Are you asking Forsen?
Well, if it is Forsen, I would say he should probably risk it because he's usually 1 damage off lethal. Oh, it's so sad. Just a hero power? Look at that work that Acolyte is doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this play, he's incentivizing MagicWind to attack the Clockwork Dome so that his
but of
Wolf
course,
Fighter will
we
be
know
somewhat
that I
safe.
can just get pinged. I mean, it also could be another. Oh, the mirror image actually is super clutch against those Chargers. Imagine Leroy being stopped by a mirror image. He's attacking the wrong Jaina.
Okay. Mirror image.
But then that creates more hounds for Unleash. Yeah, it creates more bodies for Unleash the Hounds.
I think you're okay with that, though.
Sort of.
Like, unless your opponent has a Timberwolf or 2 or a Leok,
Right.
then the images will...
Oh, we got a reversing switch. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's pretty huge.
That's massive.
I think it's a bit late, though. Like, he would have loved it for the first Doomsayer, but it's just not going to work here.
Don't you... Well... So you definitely want to try and weave in a hero power. So, but you can also do the Unleash the Hounds, kill off the mirror images. It lands on another one of those taunts. Oh, that's so big. Wow, that was really big juggles too. Pretty strong chance that it would be able to land it, 67% both times.
No, well, Hawkeye actually tried to never proc this Ice Barrier and just go for pings and kill commands the rest of the game. That's a definite possibility.
Yeah? I mean, it might come down to that if he draws kill command. How much chances does he have next turn? He's got 9, 12 damage. His opponent is effectively at 17. So I guess Worgen Infiltrator.
Even if a kill command is drawn, Hawkeye actually still doesn't have a beast. It's funny that there's a Wolf Rider and there's a Worgen Infiltrator and neither of those are beasts. What the heck? How does that make sense?
Man.
Bow.
Oh, another bow. Does that incentivize him to just start going for it? Reversing switch, the Doomsayer, start going aggressive and attack again.
I think so. I think you have way more than 8 damage that the Ice Barrier can provide for you. That can provide for his opponent rather. So yeah, there we go.
Wow. The reversing switch completely kills off this Doomsayer. He's going to go for a lot of charge damage.
He doesn't even need to equip the bow here.
Yeah. He's got... yeah, he's not going to Leroy next turn, is he? Oh, yeah, you will. Maybe. Ice Barrier number 2. Oh, hey. Hey, what's up?
Oh, it's so dark here.
Good thing I'm wearing this white jacket so they can see me. I'm also safe in traffic, Monk.
I'm not. No one can see me. We're
No.
like yin and yang here.
Yeah. Did you say yang and yang?
Oh. So.
It's yin and yang, Monk. Wait,
I
guys,
said yin and yang.
there's actually a game going on. This is pretty serious.
Yeah, things are happening.
Like, we're about to find out if this mage deck is going to go 0-3 like it's an arena deck.
I'd be pretty happy with that arena deck, I'd say. Freeze Mage? Are you kidding me?
To have a 0-3 run, not really. You should have retired after one loss and saved yourself the time.
It's true.
So, well, gosh, okay, so I can see in the far distance the Chinese caster's cameras. Looks like the board is clear, and I suppose it's because he used Flame Strike.
Flame Strike, he didn't have a Blizzard, did he?
Hey, yo.
Yeah, we're gonna need some help here.
Hey! Turn our game back on. Turn
our game isn't on.
Our game's off, man.
Okay. So,
I think Hunter is still pressuring, and I think he's about to play Leroy.
I think it's the Mage's turn now, actually.
Is it? I see the Hunter making emotes.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's a Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy goes down. And
oh,
there we go.
Hey, we caught it.
Hey guys, we're back. He's gonna pop this ice barrier.
Dude. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. We're back in the game. He's got enough damage to put him at 1.
Alright, so...
Not enough to pop the ice block.
So,
oh! And that is game, right?
Pretty much, I'd have to say.
Unless, Monk, he has Kazan Mystic.
That is true.
Because if you put your opponent down to 15, you just do burn damage and kill him.
Wait.
Yeah.
Why is... Huh? Does it make sense to clear the board here?
That doesn't really matter.
I guess I'd rather have him, like, do the extra damage to face. But yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter.
No, there's a explosive trap, dude.
Oh, yeah, true.
He's gonna kill himself if he did that.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh, man, that would have been really bad. All right, MagicWind lives to see another day.
Yeah, what a huge draw for MagicWind, and he's gonna take this game.
Dude, he's so nervous. He's like counting his damage again.
He's like, oh, do I have it? I guess he does.
Yeah, he does.
What a huge draw from MagicWind.
All right.
The Chinese players are just like going crazy.
Well, that was the biggest hill to overcome, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So MagicWind still has Hunter and Warlock left, and I would have to guess that MagicWind's Hunter is also a face hunter because he's seen Hawkeye play face hunter before, and if you pick a mid-range hunter to bring into a conquest format against the face hunter, and those decks actually match up, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, fair enough. Not to mention that you can bring your own face hunter to punish his decks. So if he's bringing Freeze Mage, he's bringing a face hunter. Then it comes down to basically who can grab early board control and outrace their opponent.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, Face Hunter is it can actually turn into a game of board control, but one player typically is ahead and they're always going for face, and the other player is behind, and sometimes they have to go for board control. But the player who's going for board control is usually at a huge disadvantage. Just like the mechanics of Hunter don't let you go for board control very easily, except for Unleash the Hounds and sometimes Explosive Trap.
Yeah, the occasional Hunter's Mark, but yeah, I guess Hawkeye is pretty much his game plan is set forward. What is MagicWind going to choose here? I guess whatever he feels most comfortable and gives him the best chances. I feel like the Hunter thing would be a coin flip, so I guess I'd go with Warlock if I was him.
Yeah, I
would hate to like have it end the next game just because you drew in properly. At least send it to game 5, make it dramatic.
Yeah, you know when a lot of players, they go into interviews and they say, I'm going to practice really hard and I want to show good games. I think if MagicWind is that kind of player and he wants to show us good games, he should pick the Warlock first, just to give a lot more diversity.
What if it's Zoo? And then it's like, this is how we end the day with Hunter versus Zoo.
Yeah, we're going full circle there then. I mean, just when we thought that Zoo was dead and Face Hunter was kind of dead a month ago, they both come back into the metagame.
Whoa! He's got flair!
All right, all right. We have a game now. We have a match, perhaps.
Dude!
That's gonna be huge. But
He brought flair on purpose.
do you keep it though? I mean, in the previously when Flare was 1 mana, I think you always keep it, but 2 mana is maybe a bit risky.
Crazy. Yeah. Who said MagicWind is boring, man? He brought flair.
Flare, that's great.
It's so useless against Druid and Shaman, but against this scenario, it's amazing.
So I have to think that Hawkeye does have the better hand now with at least a 1-drop.
Right.
Missing 1-drop in this matchup is just
It's
terrible.
actually backbreaking. Oh, that's bad news for MagicWind.
Yeah, typically in Hunter, in Face Hunter, you only play 2 traps. Some players play an additional Snake Trap, but if these are the only traps in MagicWind's deck, he might just have to play the Explosive Trap on 2.
Is it worth playing second Leopardome? I think so. I guess you're worried about a Haunted Creeper, though, right?
I think it's still fine, to be honest.
Getting in that extra damage is crazy, because then this Leopard Gnomes will total to be 8 damage for 2 mana.
Exactly.
Well, until he does that. And then you draw your own flare. Alright.
I don't think so. Both players playing Flare. Is it November 2014?
I mean, it was even before that,
yeah,
too.
it was
for about like 6 months they did that.
So Mad Science is going to come down, I would have to say. Contesting.
Oh, he knows what kind of hunter this is, too, by the way. Just by what happened, right?
Yeah,
Explosive
exactly.
Trap.
Exactly. So he knows it's going to have to be a race. Although, when you're the player with the Haunted Creeper, I guess you can play...
more control.
Yeah, exactly. Hawkeye could also be thinking of clearing off the Mad Scientist. But if you clear the Mad Scientist, that means you probably think an Explosive Trap will come out, and you have to play around that. He also has just has to, in general, play around a future Explosive Trap. And when he eventually kills off the Mad Scientist and sees nothing come out, I think he's going to be extremely happy. Or he can just go face.
Face. All right.
So he's initiating a race.
He's welcoming him to a race. Unleash the Hounds with Knife Juggler is one of the ways you can secure your lead firmly. All right, so now a second trap's been played, and he's like, well, wait. That Mad Scientist won't do anything. The secret's out.
So what if this trap were a Snake Trap, and then Hawkeye attacks? He thinks it's explosive, so Hawkeye attacks with the Abusive Sergeant into the Mad Scientist. He gets a bunch of snakes, and he lets his opponent get an Explosive Trap on the field. I guess you're still okay with that because you still have your Unleash the Hounds.
Right. But then your opponent also has Unleash the Hounds too. That's what gets scary. This is actually a pretty tough game on both ends because any misstep could cost you in terms of damage and board control.
I'd say this is fairly a close race.
Yeah. I definitely lean towards MagicWind though. With this Unleash the Hounds combination, it's gonna be so nasty. But actually, wait. I guess maybe since Hawkeye has a second Unleash the Hounds, and he can Explosive Trap.
I really like the attack before using Unleash the Hounds.
Right.
If you somehow kill off the Mad Scientist, the Knife Juggler will have to die.
Wow. Excellent points, Monk.
So does he even? I think you do kill off the Mad Scientist.
But you kill off. You think so? Yeah, I guess you kill it off last though, right? You first would do the damage and then kill it off last. Because then you still have the
Okay.
juggler alive. Because the juggler still can do damage. Okay.
Well, this doesn't play around the reverse.
Right. Unleash the Hound.
Unleash the Hound.
But he doesn't need to because he's got Explosive Trap already, so he just has to keep swinging.
What a typical face hunter versus face hunter game. It's so close, actually.
Just ignore each other's board and keep hitting the face.
Yeah. It's not
Dude.
useful, unfortunately.
The second Explosive Trap is actually going to be so huge. It stops the Arcane Golem.
This is such a funny game where both players have drawn both their explosive traps.
Right. It's like, in a way, it's got like board control in it. Even though they're both so aggressive.
Yeah.
And of course, it also gives another charge to the bow.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that might be actually extremely relevant. I don't think the second explosive trap will be that relevant in terms of giving a charge to a bow. Because I think by that time, the game will be definitely over.
I mean, hell, he's got 10 damage next turn, right? If you put in the explosive trap.
All right.
Wait, how much is that? How much is that? 4,
That's
7.
only 10.
Oh, he doesn't have enough mana to hero power. So he has to play explosive. Explosive and then Wolf Rider into the face.
I think at this point you do have to count damage though, and maybe you have to play the. No, you don't play Arcane Golem. There's no reason for that. Yeah, I guess
You
just,
play Wolf Rider because it would have been a scenario where maybe you could have used explosive as a trap mate, a checkmate. Trap. I have your king pinned down, trap mate. If he puts him in checkmate because he couldn't attack in without killing himself. But this explosive is his ticket to try and be safe, and that means it's kill command or bust. Or actually no, a weapon as well.
Well, yeah, weapon or
Weapon
Wolf
or
Rider,
kill command.
Wolf
No,
Rider.
he can't Wolf Rider because of explosive trap.
Why not?
Oh, he gets it!
He can Wolf Rider though. Wolf Rider would have been also good.
Oh,
he
right,
could
because
set up-
afterwards.
Exactly,
You're right.
yeah.
Ah, you're right.
So there's so many draws. Wolf Rider, Arcane Golem, bow.
Wow, what an insane
Anything.
race.
And it goes to 2-2.
Actually, he had a lot of outs. He had Flare too.
Oh yeah, Flare.
MagicWind stays alive, sending to game 5.
Wow. All right, so it comes down to the final game, and it's pretty fitting because we've had a lot of 3-0s today and a lot of 3-1s, but this will be our actually first 3-2 of the day.
Yep.
Coming back from an 0-2 deficit, MagicWind is looking to move on to the
It's
round
the
of
hat,
4.
Monk. I'm telling you. It's the hat. So what? It's red, white, and blue, and contrary to everything he's ever believed in. Freedom, democracy, doesn't matter. He's got Hearthstone on his side here, or RNGesus on his side. He's going to turn it around and send it to Hunter versus Warlock in order to win.
Yeah, we saw MagicWind played kind of like a Demon Lock Hunter or Demon Handlock without Mountain Giants the last time he played Warlock, and I'm not really sure how well that does against Hunter. It really depends if Mistress of Pain is in there, or and Hallie Mulligans. Does he also have eggs? Does he get those Ancient Watchers and Owls to start off the game?
That's assuming he doesn't just bust out Zoo.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
Tiddler, just like, screw it, man. Let's do it, Zoo.
Oh, there's Zoo.
He's got the, I don't even know what that card is called anymore. The Young Priestess.
Used to be a staple in Zoo, but now ever since Undertaker came out, it's
that
really
was a
not seen anymore.
replacement that Reynad made when Blood Imp was nerfed. Back in the day. But it's got Implosion. It's got Enhanso Meccano.
Unfortunately,
Enhanso Meccano.
This is like the not a great drop. Probably the top of your curve, actually.
Yeah.
2 4s and a 5. Not even a good.
Unless
poker
it
hand.
isn't Zoo, and we're just, of course, being misled.
Really, it's not Zoo with Young Priestess.
He has to tap. Oh.
Well,
It's got really weird cards for Zoo, man. Are you sure it's not Mech Zoo? Or just Mech Warlock?
I don't think it's Mech because there's a lot of cards that you have to fit into Mech for that to make sense. For
I
example,
mean, I see 3 mechs right here, Monk.
Yeah, but those are like more standard cards, I feel.
Other than Hanzo.
Like, I don't think you can fit in Young Priestess plus like Cogmaster and Mech Warper. Basically all the mech cards.
Okay. Well, Harvest Golem is board stabilization.
But really, anything that if he Animal Companions, everything but Huffer will be good. So not really even going for board control here, just racing.
Yeah, Juggler with Implosion is something to look forward to in the future, but he's taking massive damage.
He might just have to Implosion here.
Yeah.
Stem the damage.
You Implosion to Leok?
Yeah. Like, even if it hits a 2, which is pretty bad, you can still kill it off.
Yeah, I think so. And the best case scenario hits a 4. What about just the Pilot Shredder? Is it too slow?
Yeah, I would think so. Not only is it too slow, but it gets traded into with the Hana Creeper.
You're right.
What about Enhanso Mechano?
Get the Wind Fury? Sounds good to me. Oh, what's this? Double Juggler all the way.
Okay, so he's gonna get 2 more juggles here? Nope. That's interesting.
That is interesting. Hawkeye draws Leroy, so he's got finishing damage on his side.
Well,
and of course, Hawkeye also has his own knife jugglers to strike back.
So he's gonna get 4 juggles this turn. It's pretty huge. So the sequencing really matters, and I'm not really sure what the sequencing is, to be honest. Okay, yeah, I like crashing into the Harvest Golem.
Wow. 2 misses. Oh, forgot about that. Man. If this knife juggler survives, by the way, Implosion will ruin the day.
No, there's no way it survives.
Okay, yeah.
Dark Iron Dwarf. Hey, look, there's Admirable. Not
mean. That was really mean, Mo.
Really? He really embraces that name.
Good for him. Oh, man.
I'm sure he's watching right now.
I'm sure he is. Stroking his beard, rubbing his tummy.
He's like, yeah.
Doing his Hearthstone impressions.
Giving +2 attack to all other Hearthstone players. Only temporarily, though.
Maybe to chat. This is basically going to come down to the last turn. Leroy and the hero power. Oh, wait, it's not 4 mana anymore. Derp. Can't Leroy and hero power next turn, but he still has enough damage to kill. So, these 1/1s need to turn into taunt minions with the Enhanso, right?
And Enhanso Mechano, I think, is pretty good here. Like, even though it doesn't use up all your mana, and you might not be able to tap, I think you have to go for it.
Actually, only 2 of them needs to be taunt. One of them needs to be
Divine
Shield. And the other one should get like Wind Fury, I guess.
Wind Fury is just terrible. Usually, like, in some cases, you actually really want Wind Fury, and taunt is the worst, but this all really depends.
This deck is so weird.
I think this is actually, I heard about this stuff, actually. This deck. It's basically Zoo with 1 Enhanso Mechano and 1 Piloted Shredder.
And he just happened to draw both of them and tap on turn 2. Rip. Dude, he really doesn't think he's dead. He is so dead. D-E-D dead.
D-A-D dead. Like, what sequence of plays? In what world can he survive here?
And that's it. Hawkeye goes to the round of 4, meaning we have 2 Euros and 2 Chinese players.
Yeah, I think it's very fitting. In the round of 8, we had 4 Chinese players and 4 European players. And then now we're down to 50% yet again.
2 and 2.
Yeah, MagicWind.
Job well done to Hawkeye. That was a really intense series.
Yeah, Hawkeye, he lets out a sigh of relief, and I think he kind of accepted his fate at that point. The moment he drew Young Priestess on turn 1, nothing on turn 2, and both the Enhanso Mechano and Piloted Shredder on turn 4, I think he knew it was pretty much over.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much to everybody who tuned in. These guys have played their hearts out. MagicWind's run stops here, but he definitely played a hell of a series, and all of his teammates were cheering on for him. In the meantime, we want to remind you guys that to definitely check out everything that's going on with the NetEase tournament. They have like an NEL that happens seasonally, and they usually invite one Western team. Last time it was Tempo Storm. The season before that was Team Liquid. And generally, we've had a pretty positive experience with them. Seems like they're doing a good job and really trying to push Hearthstone forward.
Yeah, of course, Tempo Storm got 4th in the last NEL. I think they expected to do better, but for their first time, it was a very new format against a lot of experienced Chinese teams in the format. I think it was fairly acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, we got to the playoffs. That's what mattered. We lost the semifinals, and then the last match, it was more like, Reynad just trying to do Reynad things and with, not working out with Nimrod's head.
Nimrod's head and Voltron Rogue.
And a recap of those matches, we had the Druid start off pretty well. We expect this match to go in Hawkeye's favor. And MagicWind, this was the moment that we were talking about. Did he play around Cone of Cold?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
but
I think we should ask him. Oh wait, he's on the couch. Because I was about to yell, "Hey Hawkeye, did you play around Cone of Cold?"
Yeah, and everyone here would be like, "What's Cone of Cold?" Because no one here speaks English.
The Hail Mary to try and end the game, or try to keep the game alive, but ended up just doing nothing. And Hawkeye ended up winning the game there.
Yeah.
Then we went to game number 2 with the Mage being queued up again.
Yeah, a lot of mind games from Hawkeye, bringing a different kind of shaman. Like,
yeah.
Who knew there were 2 types of shaman? In what world? Back before GVG came out, there was pretty much only one shaman.
Oh, come on, Monk.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were to make a joke about that, you should have picked Warrior. Because if you think, is there actually another way to play Warrior right now, Monk?
Yeah, there's a mid-range Warrior now, and Control Warrior, right? And of course, there's always Aggro Warrior, popularized by none other than Reynad.
That's right. There's also Mech Warrior too,
Mech
by
Warrior,
the way.
yeah.
Also, there's also Warsong Commander,
OTK.
Yeah.
So many types of warriors.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I had to say there are fewer types
right.
of shamans than warriors.
How about Priest?
There's 2 types of priests now.
There's Control Priest, and then there's Control Priest.
There's the other
that plays other kinds of control.
There's
cards.
also Undertaker Priest.
There's also
you can still run that.
Yes, there's also Divine Spirit Priest too.
That's true. So this game was a game where Alex Strazo was drawn on the following turn and pretty much ended everything. I have to say that I think MagicWind got slightly unlucky because he chose Freeze Mage in order to counter the Hunter and Shaman, I feel, but he wound up facing against the Druid first.
And he was hoping his Warlock would face against a Druid, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Man, what a big draw. I mean, that was for stave off elimination. MagicWind shows emotion! He fist pumped! He's not just a robot, guys.
Yeah, I think the entire Chinese team fist pumped at that point. It's probably the loudest scream I've heard yet in the tournament.
Yeah.
And when this happened, if you just watch Hawkeye's reaction, I think you can even hear the scream. And you kind of knew that was coming. Playing around Explosive Trap here is, I forgot. Like, I mean, that trap was, to be fair, that trap was up like 7 or 8 turns, and we just kind of forgot about it.
And of course, on the backswing, there was plenty of damage there. 17? So
yeah,
that's usually the more than enough after you Alex Straza. So that wraps up game 3. Going to game number 4, we had the Hunter versus Hunter match, where the mirror ended up being really exciting. This Unleash the Hounds and Knife Juggler ended up being one of the many differences, but I mean, just look at how much damage it was able to do.
Pretty much all the damage. And then,
also, this is another big thing too. Attacking face twice here.
Yeah, it actually.
This is a trade that not a lot of people made, right?
Yeah, and it actually made a huge difference. That 1 extra damage was exactly what MagicWind needed to finish the game. He drew off.
Right.
He drew a Eagle Horn bow at the end, and he had exact lethal.
I know a lot of people who watch Hearthstone for fun won't really care. They just kind of buy into the fact that it's Hunter versus Hunter. But that was a really difficult attack to make. And like I would just go ahead and generalize and say like 90% of people who play that scenario would have made the wrong choice. And of course, we get the luxury of hindsight and making that judgment call, but it's so tough in that moment to make it. And MagicWind stays alive. going to game number 5. And I was kind of rooting for the comeback here. Even though I sort of want diverse representation of EU versus China, it was like a moment where I was like, man, MagicWind really can do this.
Yeah. Then we went to, of course, the final game. Kind of a heartbreaking game for MagicWind. He brought a zoo to the tournament, but unfortunately, he drew just pretty much the worst you can draw. A Young Priestess on turn 1. I mean, it is a 1-drop, but he didn't even draw anything on turn 2 for Young Priestess to buff.
Yeah, that was just really bad. Draws nonstop, and yeah. From here, this game wasn't even remotely close.
Yeah, at the end of it, MagicWind kind of accepted his fate. He knew he couldn't win, so he bowed out with a sigh.
At least he tried his until the very end. And he did show some diversity in his decks. And we're going to have an interview with Hawkeye. We're going to have final words with the casters afterwards, so enjoy. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
好的，这里是炉石传说中欧对抗赛的比赛现场。现在坐在我身边的就是刚刚获得8进4最后一个10位的鹰眼。好的，那么我们采访一下。首先，我第一个问题就是想问一下，他是否已经预测到魔法之风会选择一套兵法来对抗？感觉他的3套卡组都比较克制兵法。
Okay, congratulations for getting into the semifinal. It's the last spot, and we thought your lineups are pretty against the Frost Mage. Did you anticipate he's gonna have a Frost Mage?
No, not really. I didn't expect Frost Mage.
他是完全没有想到会有一个兵法。
那么这3套卡组当中，前面是2套非常轻松的战胜了魔法之风的那个2个职业，然后最后猎人对抗这个兵法却输掉了，请他谈谈这场比赛。
We saw you won really easily with the 2 classes against the Frost Mage, but you lost with your Hunter. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I misplayed a bit. I could have procced the Ice Block a turn earlier, but I think I will lose again because he had Alex in hand, so he could just Ice Lance my Leroy and Alex his face. So yeah, I think I played bad with the Hunter against his Freeze Mage.
他觉得他的这个总体上来说呢，猎人有一些没有打好吧，就是其中对有一些失误，因为其中有一轮他可以直接把寒冰屏障给打出来的，但他没有。但他说的是，应该是说下一轮可能也没有那么多的机会可以打出更多的就是更多的伤害吧。所以可能猎人输给兵法也是没有办法避免的事情
相信选手有自己的想法。好的，那么明天的比赛呢将是非常关键了。他的对手就是我们的小鱼大仙人。应该说小鱼是中国炉石选手在国外知名度最高的选手之一了吧？那么想问一下他对于小鱼之前有哪些了解？
Okay, so today you're gonna play against the Titular Celestial. So probably he's one of the most famous Chinese player. Do you have any strategy against him? Do you have any special thought you would like to share with us?
Not. I don't have a special strategy. I'm just gonna play the Hearthstone I know.
给了一个很酷的答案啊，他没有什么特别的战术，他就是要玩就是他自己所知道的炉石传说，就保持自己的风格吧。
好的，那么最后一个问题也是那个我们上半区 K 神对抗贪睡之萨满这场比赛，请他评价一下，或者他看好哪位选手？
Okay, so we will start tomorrow with Konanto with Sleepy Shaman. So who would you vote for? Like, who do you think gonna win the game?
I don't really know Sleepy Shaman, but in this tournament he played well, I think. But Colento is on the top of Europe right now, so I'd say Colento since I'm from Europe too.
也是个非常诚实的答案。他觉得之前并不了解贪睡之萨满这位选手，但是觉得他在此次的表现中其实是很抢眼的。但是呢，因为他是来自欧洲嘛，然后 K 神又是欧洲的顶级大神，所以他还是投Konanto一票。
好的，那么明天的同一时间，我们将进行的是2场最关键的4进2的比赛，而且非常的巧合，都是中欧之间的对抗。我相信明天的比赛会非常精彩。好的，那么我们把画面转到解说席。
Go.
All right. Well, you heard it from Hawkeye. We didn't hear it, but you guys heard it, so we'll trust that you guys had fun with that. And of course, shout out to Ellen for doing a good job translating. Well, a quick recap of what happened today. We had Colento win 3-1 over Stan Sivka. Then we had Entry Fee getting pretty bad draws and unlucky, but overall it was really solid play by Sleep and Shaman. Then we had Titular Celestial sweeping out Lovely Chuk. followed by that intense series at the end, Hawkeye versus MagicWind.
Yeah, so tomorrow at 4 p.m. local time or 4 a.m. EST, 1 a.m. PST, and 8 a.m. CET.
Time is that in Australia?
I don't know, I haven't done the calculations there, but...
What about in South Africa?
Frodan, so difficult. But at those times, we'll have the semifinals and the finals, so 3 series of matches, and all the players will be bringing completely new decks in order to counter their opponents. Of course, the final bracket will be Kolento versus Sleepy Shaman and Tiddler Celestial versus Hawkeye. So I feel it's going to be, again, an underdog versus probably one of the favorites of the tournament, Kolento and Tiddler Celestial, of course, being the favorites.
Yeah, it could easily be Hawkeye versus Sleepy Shaman in the finals, or Kolento versus Tiddler, or, you know, any permutation of that to end up the tournament. Remember, the winner gets $20,000 as well as a Ferrari. You guys will see it all the time in the shots. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, guys, and see who wins ultimately and who gets to call themselves the better region once more. Europe, they did it last time. Can they do it again? We'll find out tomorrow. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.